Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome the outstanding athlete, architect, author, and actor, the amazing Mr. Joe Courtney.
Oh, wow. We have a packed house here tonight. Yes. That's what I'm looking for. The energy is felt. Thank you very much. I will reciprocate. So first, to start off, I'd like to thank Mr. Peter Fine and the amazing Banner Health organization, all of you leaders and all the complementary parts and pieces that go into not only your organization, but putting on an event like this today that is so important for the reinvention and evolution of what the destination is going to become. So first of all, let's give everybody a hand. Give yourselves a hand for being here today. And I said to them, you know, there were key elements, and it's a part of everybody's evolution. I was surrounded around people who were part of my growth and success. But there were some key elements that I wrote about in my book. And the book is called Life Above and Beyond the Rim. And to understand what that really means, you have to understand what is the rim. Now, the rim, obviously, I'm 6'9". I played professional basketball. Obviously, it's a metaphor. But in life and in business and in culture and in all types of organizations, the rim becomes that glass ceiling. It identifies itself as a glass ceiling that is right in front of us, that is stopping us from getting to our desired outcome or destination. So I went back in my history and I started dissecting parts, piece by piece, to understand what it was that truly made a difference. That this kid came from Jackson, Mississippi, picking up a ball his 10th grade year in high school, and all of a sudden, 7 years later, making it to the NBA. It wasn't in the cards. Would you agree that statistically that wasn't in the cards? And what happened was I started finding out something amazing. I started finding out that some amazing things had happened to some amazing people. And there were similar parallels. And I broke these things down and wrote about them. Now, one of the key things that changed the whole dynamic of it is what we're going to be talking about today. And that's the message that I want to share with you guys today. And that is lead and achieve. What is it that allows us to lead and achieve? What is our rim? Everybody has one individually, and as a group and organization, we also have a rim. Now with Banner, it's already an amazing company. You guys do an amazing job. I had my own experience here. I actually had a hip replacement in 2015, believe it or not. And yes, 3 months later, I was dunking. Don't tell the doctor. Please don't tell the doctor, right? But let's go back and kind of review a little bit of history of how I evolved to this. So let's go back to the beginning. So as I told you before, I was fortunate enough to play on the world champion three-peat Chicago Bulls in 1992-93, my first team into the NBA. But very soon after that, I started learning the difference between what that organization had and what other teams didn't have. See, I was able to play with all the other teams, and I was able to see different nuances and differences. And they all had different leaders. I started off with Michael Jordan, and I learned how to do everything right on the court and pretty much off the court. Then I came to the Phoenix Suns, and I met Charles Barkley. I learned how to do everything wrong with Chuck. But we had fun doing it. And what I noticed is that leaders, even though they have individual achievement, it takes special leaders to be able to move a continent of thought and understanding. It took special leaders to be able to transcend ego. It took special leaders to be able to empower other leaders. and people who didn't even think that they were leaders. As you see on the screen, these are multiple teams I played for. One of these teams, out of all the teams I played for, got it right. And that's where I started my journey, because those are the ones who had multiple championships, year after year after year, and empowered not only the individual, but empowered the organization. There was one common denominator that they were able to transcend through and get through that glass ceiling. And that common denominator was culture. Now, we've all heard of culture before. And yes, I'm talking about culture of all different facets. Some culture is, pop culture. Other cultures, people spend their lives dedicating to, adjusting to. Their belief systems and everything else is surrounded based on the culture. Some people spend their lives in happiness. Some people spend their lives in war because of the culture they were raised in. Culture is a simple definition, the behavior of humans within an organization and the meaning that people attach to those behaviors. And when you get to company culture, it gets more specific. This includes organization visions, values, norms, systems, symbols, language, assumptions, beliefs, and habits. And that is so powerful because those individual items literally start shaping and wrapping the destination, the true destination where you want to go. In a sum, culture is an organic, unspoken state of being. A state of being that exists, but you can't necessarily see it when you first look. But you feel it through the experience. You see it through the achievements. It's like water to a fish. See, the fish are swimming in water, but they don't think about the water. But the water shapes their very survival, world, and everything else. It's like air to us. But what type of air are you breathing? Some people, some companies understand this. And that's why I think you guys are so fortunate, because where you are right now, in the transition, and this beginning of this transformation and reinvention, is going to be so powerful because the desired outcome or the destination, which we're going to talk about today, is going to affect people all over the world and make a system better, make it easier, and at the end of the day, make your life as well as others so much better. So I define this culture of winning organizations as their success DNA. Their success DNA. Because isn't it true that your very core elements, when you break down everything, becomes to the essential things that make you who you are? All the essential elements. And there are key things that make up these elements. Because for something to become an unspoken state of being, it has to be there and be done and exist without being forced. Without being forced. So some of the key elements, as you see on the screen, start with culture before ego. And I think this is the most important to start with. A culture can exist if the ego of an individual is larger. It must supersede any ego of any individual. You have a choice. Starting today, a new choice. To be completely 100% present. To be a part of something great. A reinvention that's going to change the healthcare system forever. And make healthcare easier and life better. You have a choice. If I can leave you with anything today, just be present. And Banner will not be a choice. Banner will be the only choice. Thank you guys very much.
Everybody, Mr. Joe Courtney. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.